Hi, I'm Debbie Harbeck, and I'm a certified life coach working with women in midlife and through the menopause transition. So each week, I'll be sharing the latest information, inspiration, and generate some momentum so you can move forward and feel more in control of your changing midlife body and your life. Let's go. Hi there, and welcome back to the podcast. And in fact, welcome to my 100th episode of the podcast. I really can't believe that every week for 100 weeks, so for almost 2 years, I've consistently produced a podcast episode. That is just unbelievable to me. So I guess I can now call myself a podcaster. I feel like I've earned that title. I've become a podcaster, and that is really crazy to me. I've always been very quiet. I've hated public speaking, and doing this never really felt possible until I tried. And I tried because the cause was worth it. At the time, I didn't feel there was enough information out there for us going through perimenopause and menopause. I think that's changed over the past 2 years since beginning this podcast, which I'm glad of. But there will always be more to learn and more to share. So I'm continuing this podcast for me and for you. But it has made me think, like back when I started running, for example, I didn't call myself a runner. I just went running occasionally. But there was a point I started calling myself a runner. And I think I remember when it was actually. It was in 2005. And I had just completed my first half marathon. And that marked about 6 months of consistently running about 3 times a week. And once I hit that milestone, I finally felt worthy of the title runner. But of course, that's super abstract. And it's really up to each one of us to decide when we get that coveted title, right? It doesn't have to be 6 months. You choose. You choose when you've become that person, that woman who runs, or that woman who podcasts, or that woman who works out every day, or that woman who doesn't eat sugar, or that woman who writes, or that woman who gardens, whatever it is. Podcasting for the past 2 years has taught me a lot about becoming. And becoming isn't just about doing the thing consistently, it's about who you become in your mind, who you believe you now are because of showing up consistently. And that's where the power is. It's in the transformation of your mindset. So you can try and add things to your life, like going to the gym and eating whole foods and meditating. But until you become that woman who does the thing, it isn't your identity. And that's where the work lies. It lies in doing the habits for weeks or months so that you transform the habit from something you do into something you are. And research backs this up. James Clear in Atomic Habits says, every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. And he's right. Behavior change sticks when it's rooted in who you believe you are. You don't do healthy things to become healthy. You become the kind of woman who takes care of herself, and then you do those things naturally. When you think things like, I'm not a morning person or I'm not good at planning, those are identities you're holding on to. They're not facts, they're stories, and you get to rewrite them. Before I was a podcaster or a runner, I didn't truly believe I could be either of those things. I wanted to be those things, but I didn't have the belief yet. In fact, before I became a runner, or even run with any sort of frequency, I subscribed to Runner's World magazine for years. I think for like 5 years, just reading the articles and getting inspired, knowing I wanted to run, but didn't know when it was going to happen. And that really helped build at least some belief that it was possible. So, how do you go from I'm someone who keeps starting and stopping to I'm someone who trains regularly and nourishes her body? As a coach, my bread and butter is getting my clients from where they are to where they want to be. And I know from experience that there are 3 things required to make that happen. With these 3 things, you've got magic. And you can become that version of yourself that you sometimes see in others and wonder why you don't have it. You can have it as long as you have these 3 things. So the first one is desire. You've got to really want to be the version of you who works out regularly, who eats with intention, who takes rest seriously. If it comes from a doctor telling you you should, or a partner or a friend, it's not going to happen. You have to want it for your own reasons and not because you feel you should want it for someone else's. Okay? Clear? Number 2 is you've got to build up the belief through action. So, although it's true, you can create belief without action. I know from working with so many women that belief without at least a little bit of proof, a little bit of action, doesn't usually work. Now, of course, you can build belief before taking a single step, and that's what we like to call fake it till you make it, although I don't love that expression. But ideally, you take some small steps so that you can learn more about what it is to be the person who is who you want to be. You take those small steps so you can believe you become that person. That's what I did when I read Runner's World magazine for those years before I ran. It's where I figured out how runners train, what they wear, how they eat, and the mindset of a runner. There's another element here too, as you begin to build the belief that I want you to be really, really aware of. This is a fragile state you are in if you're in this place because you're not in full belief yet. So you got to protect yourself so that you increase your chances of making it happen. To do that, I suggest only telling those who will support you in where you are going. I'm sure, like me, you've had experiences where you were excited about doing something and becoming that new version of you, and you told someone who completely deflated your enthusiasm and maybe even caused you to give up. So don't tell everyone what you're building, just tell those who can help you build it. That is my advice. And the third thing you need to know is to aim for imperfection. So aim to have this happen not in a linear way. Expect it to be bumpy because inevitably it always is. The biggest results may not come right away. But if you look closely at the details, you'll see results from day to day and week to week. It won't be perfect, but the trajectory will be upwards over time. So with this podcast, I wanted to have things done weeks ahead. And I wanted to know exactly what I was going to say in each episode. So thank God for editing, because although the podcast episodes may seem polished or at least competent, they're sometimes completed by the seat of my pants. But they still get done. And I'm still a podcaster. And in the end, that's what counts. You do the things you need to do, but each day and week may look a little different because life gets in the way. It's not perfect. That's okay. So, in addition to desire, to building belief, to aiming for imperfection, here's some real talk if you want to embark on becoming more of who you want to be. If you really want something, you have to take the steps to getting there and you have to make them non-negotiable. One of my favorite terms. That means no excuses. When a baby begins to talk, you can't make out the words, but you don't give up on her and say, well, I guess she's not going to be a talker. Of course you don't. You know that she'll fumble and she'll make mistakes, but she'll eventually talk. Same thing with you. Don't give up when things don't go smoothly. They're not supposed to go smoothly. The road to your best self is bumpy and challenging, but that's the only way to get the strength you need to be her. And once you've integrated that identity of her into yourself, you can so much more easily sustain the changes you made along the way. So, as I wrap up here, this 100th episode, if you're feeling stuck, if you keep falling off track, ask yourself, am I trying to change my habits without changing my identity? Today, I want you to stop trying to fit things in. Stop trying to fit in a workout or a walk or a relaxing bath or a trip to the grocery store for fruits and veggies. Instead, start becoming the woman who no longer needs to squeeze these things in because they're just part of who she is. It's never about needing a new plan. And so many people ask me for a workout plan and a diet plan. It's about needing a new story. Who do you want to be? That's your story. So if you're done with starting over again and again and again, and you're ready to become that woman, strong and steady and self honoring, then I invite you to work with me. I help women do exactly that. Women who never believed they could become fit or organized or become a morning person. They've done it through coaching. So go to the show notes, find the link to book a free call with me. And in the meantime, please keep moving forward, even if the road is bumpy. And I'll see you next week. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Midlife Momentum Podcast. If you want to learn more about working with me, come visit me at DebbieHarbeckCoaching.com. That's Debbie, I-E, Harbeck with a C, coaching.com. See you next week.